The painting from the curiosity shop. My brother bought a painting, the most disturbing painting I've ever seen. This painting is of a clown, and ever since he bought it, weird things have started to happen. The dreams, the constant dreams and nightmares. And finally, the clown. I can see him in the corner of my vision constantly, standing behind me, but when I turn to look, there is nothing. It all started a week ago when me and my brother traveled to a small seaside town in Kent. We were walking down this old alleyway, talking and admiring all the old buildings, when we noticed a strange-looking curiosity shop. Outside the shop was some old antiques, a peculiar-looking mirror, and some kind of black magic spell books. We thought it looked quite interesting, so we stepped into the dark, mysterious-looking shop. As we walked in, a gust of freezing cold air hit me, and an old, musty smell overcame my nostrils. Kind of like the smell you get when you're visiting your grandparents. The shop was completely filled to the brim with old antiques, creepy-looking dolls, witchcraft books, paintings, mysterious-looking stuffed animals, and much more. It looked like the owner hadn't had a customer in years. Everything was covered in dust. We walked up to the counter and called for someone. Silence. Dead silence. The place was completely empty of life. I turned and looked at my brother. He turned too. A look of confusion on our faces. "Where is everyone?" he said. "I don't know. It said the shop was open." We turned and looked back towards the counter. Me and my brother almost jumped out of our skin when we saw a huge, old-looking man dressed in black 18th century cloths, wearing a colorful top hat, standing in front of us with a massive grin. "How can I help you fine gentlemen today?" he said in a calm, smooth voice. "Jesus Christ, mate, you scared the shit out of us," my brother said. "Where did you even come from?" "Oh, I was just in the cellar sorting a few things," he said suspiciously. "Feel free to have a look around." "Will do, mate." Me and my brother walked off to have a look around. As we were walking around, the weird guy was constantly staring at us with a psychopathic smile on his face. Just the look of him sent chills down my spine. So we carried on looking around at all this peculiar-looking stuff. My brother was ahead of me, and while I was looking at a weird spider-monkey hybrid stuffed animal, my brother called me from the back. I immediately walked over to see what he was calling about. "Oi, John, look at this!" "What is it?" I said as I turned around the corner of a shelf. As I came into view of my brother, I could see a large-sized painting. In this painting was a clown. He seemed to be smiling. It was so detailed it almost looked real. As I stared into its eyes, it began to fill me with a sense of dread. I had to look away for a while. I bloody hated it, but my brother loved it. I turned to face away from it, and when I turned around, the man was standing behind me. I jumped back. "Ah! You found Funzy the Clown painting," he said, grinning with his horrible yellow teeth. "He has been in this shop for 10 years now. Nobody seems to like it, poor thing." "I think it's wonderful," my brother said, touching the paintwork. The curiosity man started to give us a little bit of history towards it and said, "It was painted in 1905 by a serial killer on death row. This was the very last painting he ever did before he was hung for his crimes. It has survived 111 years, surviving 4 house fires, the Blitz in World War II, and it was lost at sea in someone's suitcase for 10 years until a fishing boat found it in 1980. Ever since then, it has been in my aunt's manor house." "Wow, I'll take it," my brother said with no hesitation. "You're not seriously buying this, are you?" We argued for a while. It was impossible to make him change his mind. He really wanted this painting. He had made his decision. He bought the painting. On the way out, just as we were leaving through the door, the curiosity man spoke. "Those who mistreat the painting or damage the painting in any way will face the fury of Funzy." We both looked back at the man. He let out another disgusting yellow-toothed grin and silently chuckled to himself. "Have a nice day," he uttered as he walked into the back room. We walked back to the car, lumbering the massive painting. We reached the car and put it in the boot. It was dark now. On the way back, I kept thinking I saw someone in the corner of my vision sitting in the back seat. I turned to look, but there was nothing there. I brushed it off and thought it was down to my tiredness. We eventually reached my house. I asked my brother if he was going to be all right with carrying the painting, and he said he'd be fine. So I said goodbye and went straight to bed. That night, I dreamed about my brother. I dreamed that I was standing outside his house. None of the lights were on in the house apart from his bedroom light. I opened the door to his house and walked in. Pitch blackness filled the house, and there was a warm, bloody, metallic kind of smell. I felt around for the lights and flicked them on. Doesn't work. I searched in my pockets for my phone and used the light from it. I turned on the light from my phone and shined it around. That feeling came over me again, a sense of dread. The house looked empty. I could hear running water upstairs. I shined my phone towards the stairs. A long trail of blood led upstairs to the bathroom where I could hear the running water. I stared at the blood for a while when a red clown nose came bouncing down the stairs. I shouted up there for my brother. No answer. I decided to walk up there and follow the blood trail. I reached the bathroom door, put my hand on the handle, and slowly and nervously opened it. The room was completely filled with steam, and the floor was sticky and wet. I could see an outline of someone in the bath. I moved closer towards the bath. I could see deep crimson red pouring from the bath. Suddenly, the steam cleared. I could see my brother laying in the bath with his throat cut and gushing blood. He turned his head and looked towards me. A massive, deep smile etched into his mouth, reaching from ear to ear. His nose was folded inside out to form some sort of clown's nose, and his eyes, oh God, his eyes. They were a deep, pale white and lifeless. They started to bleed out. His eyes burst out of his head and hundreds of big black spiders poured out. He tilted his head and said, "Funsy is fun. Funsy will play. Funsy is friendly. Funsy will stay. But if you damage the painting in any way, you will anger Funsy, and he will not go away." I woke up terrified in my bed and was completely soaked in sweat. I got out of my bed and got my head into gear. It was all just a dream. I undressed out of my pajamas and walked into the bathroom to have a shower. I froze at the door and stared at the bath for a while, visualizing what I saw in my dream. I snapped out of my trance and got into the shower. After my shower, I got back into bed and went back to sleep. The next day, I awoke to the phone ringing. It was my brother. He asked for me to come to his place immediately. I asked him what the problem was, and he told me I'd see it when I got there. I got into my car and drove to my brother's house. When I got there, he was standing outside his house waiting for me. I parked the car and got out. "What's the problem, mate?" I asked him. "I'll show you," he said. I followed him into the house, and he led me to the painting which was standing upright on the dresser in his bedroom. "This is the problem." "Oh shit," I replied. "What happened to it?" My brother proceeded to tell me what happened to it. "Well, I hung it up on the wall of the stairs last night when I heard a knock at the door. I was in such a trance staring at the painting that the knock startled me and made me knock it off the wall and crash down the stairs. I quickly ran down the stairs to answer the door, and there was no one there. I went back to look at the painting, and the bloody corner of the canvas had broken. So that's how it happened." I stared at the painting for a while, remembering what the curiosity shop guy had said. Those who mistreat the painting or damage the painting in any way will face the fury of Funsy. At that very moment, I heard a crash downstairs. I looked towards my brother. What was that? We both ran downstairs to see what it was. We both ran into the kitchen and abruptly stopped. Written in blood on the wall of the kitchen were the words, "Funsy is broken. Funsy is sad. Funsy is angry. Funsy is mad." "Oh my God," said my brother. "Where did the blood come from?" I asked. We both looked around to the corner of the kitchen, and laying there dead on the floor was my brother's pet cat, Pixie, completely torn to shreds. On what was left of the cat's poor body was a picture. It was a picture of us, but in the picture we were impaled on spikes in some kind of circus tent, our bodies completely ripped apart, exposing our internal organs and violently dripping blood. A message written on the front of the picture. "Funzie is coming for you."